Okay, so today we're going to be sort of reviewing the Bendy in the Ink Machine plushes from Jackspecific. Now, this is a double upload because I just went to Walmart and found the Bendy in the Dark Revival Heavenly Toys. Now, this is really interesting because I love Bendy. The last company was Fat Mojo, and their last plush line was, I think, these guys, which I honestly really liked them. It sucks that, you know, Fat Mojo did that to Bendy, but Bendy's back. And you know me, I love plushes, so naturally when I saw this in the box, this took me back to 2015 Funko and Fat Mojo days, back when they used to sell stuff like this. My fingerprints are all over this box. But anyway, okay, so as of me recording this video, I remember seeing like the Bendy in the dark, the Bendy plushies used for Fat Mojo. I remember seeing those in the game. I remember seeing these Jackspecific plushes seen here. Can't seem to find which ones these are based off of. So I'm going to base these off the ones that I think they're based on, which is Dark Revival's Heavenly Toys. Sadly I can't find it. I'll probably make a separate video on Fat Mojo, but we're starting off with Bendy 1. So let's start off with the main character, Bendy himself. Here is Bendy's tag. Remove that on the side, the Jackspecific logo. But here's Bendy. His tag is simply just his head. Now I don't remember what the Fat Mojo ones were, since I actually don't own them. Well, actually I do own this Fat Mojo tag. I really like how the tag is just Bendy's little head. So if you ever want to take the tag off, which I probably will take the tag off of these, you can have Bendy's little head poking off, which is super nice. I love the fact that his head is just the fucking tag. It is amazing. It is so fun. Okay, so let's start off with Bendy with like the general aspect. The main thing is this plush is completely printed. His gloves and face and bow tie are completely printed, which honestly kind of gives the look of the game, which, I mean, I feel like it's a negative and a positive. But you got Bendy and his unique grin. Now, I don't remember if the plushes ever had these, like, weird little gray marks around them, or you find a Bendy plushie that looks like this one in the game. I know that they look more like the Fat Mojo ones, but I know this is based off the Heavenly Toys one because the printing has little stitching going on the side. Since it's not physical stitching, or at least I think it's representing that one where he has like the stitching going on across his face. I think it's that one. It's the only real Bendy with somewhat of a neck anyway, so I think that it's based on that one. So that's what I'm basing on. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But I generally like this plush. His head shape, you know, the perfect little Bendy shape. A lot of the Bendy ones tend to mess up his head shape. Doesn't make it look as good, specifically this Fat Mojo one. Overall, the detail, he has a little, you know, he has his body. He's shaped like Bendy overall. I like how they actually gave him his black shoes, which I think none of the Bendy plushies up to this point, or at least none of the Fat Mojo ones have. I don't know about YouTube's, but I do like how he actually comes with his actual shoes, and he's like an actual, he's like an accurate in-game Bendy for the most part because of the printing. But I don't know if people will like it because of the printing or hate it because of the printing. It does look cheap, but the rest of the plush is kind of just black, just like how Bendy is. Which I genuinely do like this one. Starting off with the second character, and that one is Boris the Wolf. So I think Boris, in my opinion, is if there's a Boris plushie that is just covered in ink in the game, but Boris really just seemed like he got a hold of the bacon soup and could not hold himself because he is just covered in ink. Like, I get that's the entire point. It's like he was just submerged in it, which, you know, the printing, I guess, greatly represent the ink idea, because I'm like, how else are you going to put ink on a plush? It would look terrible. So printing is the most technical answer, and there's not really much to be said besides I think the printing looks pretty good for Bendy standards. Like, for Bendy and Ink Machine, it definitely gets the look done. You can still see some white parts on there, but to be fair, I feel like it kind of fits the Bendy style. So, like, I honestly like Boris. I don't think he's better than the Fat Mojo Boris plushie. I think that the Fat Mojo one, I do prefer this one more, but this is a more accurate plush of Boris since he's not incredibly fat. So this does look more like how Boris does in the game. and sort of like how this plush looks in the game, except it's just covered in ink. Now, I don't know if you do find a Boris covered in ink. I haven't played Bendy in such a long time, but I do like this plush as well. I do sort of wish maybe they could have used less printing on Boris, honestly, but besides that, I do like Boris here. I think he's pretty good. The last character for this line is Alice Angel, which is looks obviously she's based a lot more on the Heavenly Toys design, and I think Alice has a lot of printing too. They really just printed the entire body. Her entire body is just completely printed to her face and everything. It's like they also sort of just printed the face on from the game pretty much onto this plush. I mean, I think that the pattern is nice. I just think that the printing is a bit too much, but at the same time, I don't think it looks bad either, because, you know, they do kind of look cheap in the game, so it's accurate, yes. But when you look over at what we had prior, which was Fat Mojo's Alice plushie, it's sort of, yeah, you see what I mean. Honestly, for the price of $30 for all three of these are amazing plushies. These are amazing plushies. I would highly recommend picking them up if you're a fan of Bendy, because I really want more Bendy merch, and especially more affordable. Maybe Jax could give us Audrey, Sammy. We could probably get into Ink Demon, you know, get more Ink Demon merch. I know YouTube's has one, but I want more Ink Demon stuff. Honestly, even though I was ragging on these for the printing, I think the printing looks good, okay? I'm gonna be honest, I like the printing. A second set of Bendy plushies. These ones are based off Bendy in the Ink Machine, the very first game. So we finally now have Bendy in the Ink Machine plushies again. The last time we had plushies based on Bendy was the original Fat Mojo ones, which I really like these. Why did Fat Mojo have to try to do what they did? They had such a good thing going, and they just had to screw it up. But we got Jax, and I think Jax is doing a great job with these Bendy ones. So let's start off with, last time on my last video, I did the box last. But this time I actually want to do the box first. So let's get started with the box. The box itself looks honestly really good. I like how it shows the characters. I have no idea if this guy actually has a plushie or not. I haven't seen this one, but I don't think he has one. I have no idea if he actually has one. If he does, I'll put it in the video. So you got Bendy on the side. Of course, you got the little spider guy. I cannot remember his name. I do not remember his name. And Boris, which is, Jesus Christ, bro. Why does Boris just keep getting ink on him, bro? I don't like this Boris hate. And on the back, we have this guy, of course, the bandits is what they are, and a more clear shot of Boris, unlike what the hell happened here. But a more clear shot of Boris and a little bit of Alice, which I actually don't think these two have plushies for this line. Maybe they do, I just didn't see them. And over here, it's a more clear shot of Boris and Alice. And of course, the inside of the box, it's like this for Bendy. And we're going to be doing a comparison to the original Bendy and the Ink Machine plushies that released Wave 1, alongside the ones released for Fat Mojo, or at least the ones that I own. So let's start off with the main man himself, Bendy. But this kind of reminds me of that old 2016 Bendy bootleg from all those years ago, the one that had like the little demon tail. It kind of reminds me of that. It is a very weird carnival prize kind of detail on him. It's very odd. I don't think it could pick it up on my camera. My camera is kind of blurry. Tag, which just like on the last plush, it's his head, like the cardboard Bendy. I really feel like this is just the cardboard Bendy plush at this point because of the really weird legs and the super flat detail. Now, I can't really say too much on the detail because just like on the last plush, it's printed. Completely printed from his hands and his face, which I think is a bit more lazier than it was on the other one, because at least it had the ink being covered all over him. But on this one, not that much. I'll actually bring this one over. He's kind of the same. The only real difference is that he has more of like a bigger head, but he pretty much is like a cardboard Bendy plushie, which, you know, not that different from the previous one. He still keeps his actual shoes this time, but overall, a pretty decent plush of Bendy. Now comparing him to the Fat Mojo Bendy, which is based on the first one that I think you could find in Joey Drew's room or something. Overall, I do sort of wish they could have like actually did what they did with Fat Mojo, where they like, you know, and like they actually don't print the eyes and sort of make it like this. I think it would have looked a lot better instead of just printing it. But I actually do like this Bendy as well. Both of these are really nice plushies. And the next character besides Bendy is Boris the Wolf. And this is the second plushie of Boris from Jax that they've released. And I think he's also based on the cardboard cutout design of Boris here. Now, his snout is incredibly short on my plushie compared to like how it normally is. Especially when you compare it to the previous Bendy version of Boris. It is significantly shorter. Boris from the game, like from the cartoon, because he's actually pretty dang skinny. Just like how he actually is, like in the games. Just a pretty skinny plushie of Boris. And this time he's not covered in bacon soup. So I really like that. He's not covered in bacon soup like the last plushie. Honestly, I think that Boris might be a bit more of an improvement. This one looks more accurate to the character Boris the Wolf. Now if they made him more yellow, I could see this plushie being like accurate to the games completely. And I think the printing on Boris is a lot better than it is on Bendy, which is weird. We got Boris, and I think that Boris is overall pretty good. So the last character besides Boris is this weird spider guy. I don't remember his name. I do know that he also got a plush from Fat Mojo years ago, and it is so much money nowadays. But here is our good pal, the little spider guy. I know he's a part of the gang. I don't remember the name of the gang. I think it's the Butcher Gang. But he is a part of that. And honestly, this guy definitely is one of the more, like, he's one of the main highlights of the plushie. He has spiders. He has all 4 of his legs. It is just copy and pasted, but he actually has all 4 legs. His arms as well. He has the 2 main arms, 4 legs. He has all his little detail. And of course, the printing on his face. All that stuff. His eyes are printed, but the teeth are printed, and so are the eyes. But the mouth is actually used, like it's actually sewn on there. So his mouth is actually sewn, which is weird. I don't know why they didn't just sew on the teeth and sew on the eyes, because it kind of looks like it's fading, which, like I said, kind of works for Bendy, but I think it would have been better if they actually embroidered these on here. But besides that, I think that this guy is pretty cool. I hope they make the rest of the Butcher Gang alongside Alice in this style. Like, she actually has her little halo, since the other one didn't. I really like these plushies so far. Now, as of right now, these are the only 3 characters that I'm aware of. Now, I don't know if the other characters are actually a part of this line, but I do hope we can get more plushes for Bendy. Maybe, like I said, Ink Demon, the rest of the Butcher Game, Audrey, you know, like so many other characters. We got Bendy in the Cage coming out soon, so you already know I'm like super excited for that shit. I am so hyped that Bendy is getting stuff. And before I end off this video, I'm going to compare off the boxes of both Bendy plushies. Seen here, we got the both of the Bendy boxes here. And overall, they're kind of the same thing. Now, I personally really like this box more because it has little characters all on the side. Instead of it just being Bendy copy and pasted on all 3 sides, it's actually different, which I really like that. Overall, I want to say that these are fantastic display pieces. If you're a big fan of Bendy and you just like Bendy and you want to make plush videos, I highly recommend trying to get these in the box if you can, because these display boxes are just incredible. They look really nice for displaying them. I honestly hope Jackspecific goes out more with Bendy. Just keep doing what you're doing. Please make more. I would love more. I love Bendy.